We're going to the beach. Woo! First, we're gonna go get a pub sub because I've never had a pub sub, and I want to have a pub sub at the beach because I heard that's a very unique Florida experience, and I'm trying to have a real authentic Florida summer, which I might, because apparently El Nino this year is gonna be really bad, so I might experience my first hurricane too. So, yay!
So for the entrees, we got a hot chicken tender sub whole for my arthritic diet, and for Leslie we got the same thing but the buffalo variety, Publix buffalo chicken tender sub W, because she's a winner.
I just got lettuce, tomato, and onion. That's it.
I got naturally raspberry flavored brewed iced tea.
I got the same thing.
Leslie got jalapeno heat chips, and I got cracked pepper and sea salt chips because I don't like jalapeno. Side note, some guy in line pronounced it jalapeno.
I'm gonna eat half of mine now and then the other half later when I get hungry again.
You're having a Florida summer, baby.
Show what it looks like. Oh, that looks good. The buffalo chicken. Okay. I got stung by a jellyfish and it hurt so bad. Completely left you hanging, but wear your sunscreen because just a few hours in the sun and I feel like my skin looks horrible. But anyways, those waves were a lot stronger than they were the last time that we visited that beach. We are both exhausted. I'm so tired and I cannot wait to go home and shower and take a nap. God, I love napping after swimming at the beach.
That nap is gonna hit so hard.
Anyways, ya compré mi camisa de Mexico en el tianguis. The closest thing to a tianguis here. I'm gonna see the Mexico versus Ecuador game with a bunch of Cubans and a bunch of Ecuadorians, so pray for me, girl. I'm gonna be the only Mexican there, so that's fun.
I will be Mexican for a day just to support her so that she's not alone.
Okay, love you, bye. So this month was a little bit too busy for me to film as much as I usually do, but here's one of the first things I did. I painted using watercolor, and the whole time I was thinking to myself, this is why I prefer gouache. I have not given up on it. I want to try it again, but yeah, I didn't have the best time working with watercolor. It took me a while to get the hang of it. But this month we also watched a few childhood favorites. And it's raining super hard right now as I'm recording this, so I'm sorry about that if you hear that. But here's some of the snacks that we had while we watched movies this month. We did some letter writing at Books and Books, and it was really nice. It was nice to do some letter writing outdoors while we shared a drink. Later, we went to one of my favorite bakeries around here. It's a Colombian bakery called Los Balcanes, and here's me showing you some of the things that I usually get. I got an empanada. Colombian empanadas are really good, y'all. Yeah, so far Colombian and Argentinian empanadas are my favorite that I've tried here. This is a tequeño. If I could survive off of these, I would. Like, if this is all my body needed to survive, I would eat it all day, every day, no complaints. This is pan de bono. I believe it's made out of yuca flour and cheese. I'd say these are my favorite right after tequeños. Later in the month, we went to our friend Priscilla's house and we hung out with a bunch of friends. We had burgers and hot dogs and wings, and we were also watching the USA versus Paraguay game, and that was fun. And later they were playing poker, and we were also watching Princess Diaries 2 in the background, and yeah, we had a great time. I was really happy with how often we got to get together with friends to watch some of the soccer matches for the World Cup. This was when our friend Brigitte hosted, and look at the spread. She worked so hard on this, and it made the night feel so much more exciting. We really got into the World Cup spirit, you know? And then later we ended up doing karaoke, and that was fun too. And then we watched Mexico beat Ecuador at my friend Diana's house. And as I'm recording this, Mexico has lost to England, and I don't want to talk about that, so bye-bye. Hola! Don't look at the dirty dishes. I'm gonna be making my London fog tea drink thing that I have mostly in the morning, sometimes in the evenings. But yeah, I'm gonna be using this tea. It's the Victorian London Fog from Harney and Sons. Okay, like, I'm just gonna try different brands, I think, and see what I like more, but this is what I'm using right now. I'm gonna use fake maple syrup. It's monk fruit maple syrup because I don't want to spike my blood sugar too much. I haven't eaten anything today yet, so I'm gonna, yeah, this. You can use regular maple syrup though, like, your body, your choice. But, and you know, then like milk and water. Todavía está muy caliente. I'm not really a coffee person. Me cae mal, if you know what I mean. It gives me the runs, okay? And it sucks because I like coffee, but I can't. And I'm surrounded by Cubans, so that's fun to have to explain to people when they offer me coffee. I feel like I need to explain. Like, if I don't, I'm scared I'm gonna come off as rude. Like, I hate your coffee. I don't. I like Cuban coffee. I just can't have it. Se me antoja, you know? Like, I see Justin having his coffee and I was getting sad that I couldn't have like a nice hot drink for myself. So I started getting into tea, and this is like my hyper fixation drink right now. You see me on the couch, that means I'm gonna talk, I'm gonna yap a little bit. Yeah, this week has sucked a little bit. 2 days ago, it was the anniversary of my dog's death. It's been 2 years, and for some reason this year, it felt worse than last year. I think it's because the first year I was a little bit more distracted. I purposefully distracted myself from it. And this year, for some reason, I don't know, it was harder to do that. I tried to distract myself. I mean, we went to see a movie last night and it was Supergirl. So if you saw it, you know what I mean. It's kind of been impossible to distract myself from it. Anyways, I have some notes here because I don't want to get too off track. I wanted to talk about this because I honestly, and this is something I'll talk about later, but there's not really many spaces where you can talk about this without feeling judged by other people that might just, not relate or might even disagree with feeling this strongly about a pet being affected so much, to this degree by an animal. And also, I'm in the unique situation where I can't really talk about her with anyone that I'm surrounded by, because, or at least it feels that way, because I'm surrounded by people that didn't know her, didn't witness, I guess, how special she was to me. I mean, like Justin, he got to interact with her a lot before we got married, and he also understands and is aware of how special she was to me, but it's not the same as getting to talk about her with people that knew her for as long as I did. But yeah, I just, I wanted to talk about it in a controlled environment where I don't have to think about being judged. But anyways, Diana was, what I feel about her, the way that I think a lot of pet owners feel about their dogs, their cats. They always think that their dog is like the best dog in the world and their cat is the best cat in the world. And yeah, that really is how it felt. I thought she was perfect. I thought she was the most beautiful thing I had ever laid eyes on. Like, she was very, very, very special. I'm gonna cry if you haven't already guessed. Like, I'm talking about my dead dog. Like, of course I'm gonna cry. And I will let you know right now that I don't feel any shame around crying. I feel like I have outgrown that shame that I used to have. I have shed that off. I don't judge other people when they cry. I welcome it. I am one of those people. I don't care. I really don't care. But if that makes you uncomfortable, if it makes you uncomfortable to hear someone talk about something sad and cry and all that, like, I get it, I've been there, but that's not me anymore. So sorry about not being sorry for crying. Anyways, well, we got her when she was like 2 or 3 months old, and she passed away when she was 13. She had just turned 13. Growing up, we always had dogs, but you know what it's like sometimes in immigrant households. My parents, they never had a pet that they had to like take to the vet and all that. No one had ever taught them how to have a pet, how to take care of a pet. They were in the same situation that a lot of immigrant parents grow up in, where a pet, where they come from, it was seen as a luxury. It was seen as a burden, an extra mouth to feed, which I think that ties into how common it is in the Latin community to diminish like the experience of having a pet and the process of losing one, because they just don't relate to that. That wasn't my parents. After a while, of having an animal, like, you grow attached to it, you learn to give it the love that it needs. So yeah, but again, like, no one taught them how to take care of a pet, so no one taught us how to take care of a dog. And that meant that a lot of our dogs growing up ended up getting rehomed to good families. I will say, we were always careful about giving them to good homes. But it wasn't until Diana that I took it upon myself to research and learn and like really take care of her. Yeah, like, I remember being 11 or 12 and like thinking to myself, no one's gonna teach me how to take care of her. I just need to do it. And like, she's mine. She's not going anywhere. I am not letting her get rehomed. I'm gonna take care of her, So yeah, over the years, she was like the family dog. Everybody in my household grew attached to her. So we would all take care of her together, but she always felt like mine. I was the main one, feeding her and taking her out and scheduling her appointments. I wouldn't pay for them, because I was a kid. But I'd schedule her appointments. I would bathe her regularly. I learned how to groom her because I didn't like taking her to groomers. Yeah, she felt like mine. But when I fell in love and more it became clear that I was gonna have to move away from home, at first it was a no-brainer. Like, she was gonna come with me. I was gonna take her with me. Like, there was no question about it. She was mine. So it made sense to me to bring her to Miami. But the more I thought about it, the more it felt like, had I done that, like if I did that, it would have been selfish. Like, I realized it would have been cruel. As much as I loved her and was obsessed with her, she was really attached to my parents, to my mom specifically. So I felt like it would have been cruel of me to make her detach from 3 people that she was very attached to instead of just one person. She was also really old, and financially speaking, I knew that my parents were better equipped to take care of her with, you know, all her regular vet appointments, and if anything ever went wrong with her health, I felt like my parents would be able to handle that better than me, because I was going to be a broke newlywed, you know. And also, she did not do good in new environments. I just felt like she was gonna suffer a lot if I brought her with me. So I decided to leave her. And I have a lot of guilt about that. But okay, I'm not gonna get off topic yet, okay? Apparently she had been sick for a while, but we just didn't know. She had always been a very calm dog. People would comment on that sometimes when they'd visit our house. They'd say, oh, she's sleeping, you know, because she's old. And I didn't like it when people would remark on her age, because again, like, that just felt like, no, she's not. She's a baby. She's fine. But also, since she was a puppy, she had always been very, very calm, and she slept through the day. Like, I don't know, I often describe her as a cat disguised as a dog, because a lot of her behaviors were more similar to a cat than a dog, and that was one of them. Like, she was very calm, was always resting. Yeah, that had just always been her entire life. So I don't know if we just didn't notice because of that, because, you know, her sickly behavior wasn't that different from her normal behavior. But yeah, she had been sick for a while. To my parents, they said that it felt like she got sick from one day to the next. They didn't tell me the night that they noticed that she didn't look too good. They told me the next morning when they were going to take her to the vet. My mom FaceTimed me with my brother, telling me that she didn't look too good. I could tell that my mom was scared and was struggling to tell me that she thought I should come home. But I was able to understand how bad it was, and immediately after getting off the phone with them, I booked a flight for that same evening, because I really wanted to be there in case something went wrong. Yeah, and things went very wrong in the span of just a few hours, because they took her to the vet. They FaceTimed me while she was there, and then the vet gave my mom and my brother medicine to give her. She had a new diet plan and everything. She had a very common problem that happens with a lot of dogs of her breed. She had heart issues. Yeah, but when they got home from the vet, she got worse. My mom immediately called me, FaceTimed me, asked me to talk to her. She looked like she was about to be unconscious. So I remember talking to her, but struggling to talk to her, because I think in that moment I just didn't want to accept that she was about to die. So I don't know if she heard me, because looking back, I didn't really talk that much. It's another thing that I have a lot of guilt about. But they immediately took her back to the vet, but she passed away on the way there. Like, almost as soon as they got in the car, my mom says that she passed as they were leaving our neighborhood. So when they got to the vet, she was already dead, and they didn't want to tell me. I don't know if they didn't call me to tell me because they didn't want to tell me, or if they called me, or they didn't call me to tell me because they didn't want me to be alone. But they called my mother-in-law and told her first, and she called Justin and he told me. I was just so devastated that I didn't get there on time. I honestly don't remember almost anything between finding out and getting home. Like, I know that I was packing before I even found out that she had passed. Like, right after booking my flight, I started packing. I was in the middle of packing when I found out. And I don't remember finishing packing. I don't remember going through TSA, being on the plane. I don't remember any of that. I just remember driving into my neighborhood, my old neighborhood, and seeing deer. And deer have become a reminder of Diana because of this fun story that my mom loved to tell about her, where one night my mom took her out, for her to do her business, and she lost her. And when she found her, she was surrounded by deer. And she says that it looked like they were having a meeting. Like, she didn't look scared of them and they didn't look scared of her. Like, they looked like they were just hanging out. So yeah, I remember driving into the neighborhood and seeing deer in the middle of the street, and I just lost it because of the deer. And because in that moment, as we were approaching my parents' house, I was realizing that I wasn't gonna be greeted by her. It's a little interaction that if you have a pet, you go through every day and take for granted. In that moment, I realized I was never gonna see her again. And she was there, 'cause she was dead. Sorry, I have some. She was there, but she wasn't alive. And that first week was horrible. It was really, really bad. I think what made it worse was the fact that I was there by myself. Marriage advice, I guess. Don't grieve without your partner. Don't put yourself in the situation where you have to grieve without your partner. It hurt both me and Justin, the fact that he wasn't there with me to comfort me, because it was so last minute. He didn't have time to ask for time off work, so I had to go by myself. And I needed to be there, I felt like I needed to be with my family. I needed to be there at least when they buried her. A lot of people immediately showed up right after she passed. A bunch of my family went over to be with my mom, with my parents. And when I got there, a lot of my friends and family came to visit me. She meant a lot to a lot of people. That was quite comforting to see how many people cared about her death. But I don't know, professionals recommend that you talk about it with someone that has been through the same thing. And it did help to a certain extent. It did help. But even then, I didn't always relate to other people's experiences losing their pets because, for example, one of my friends that visited me, she talked about her experience losing her family dog. And she talked about how she felt a lot of guilt around having to let him go, having to put him down, And that is a very common sentiment amongst people who have to go through that, have to experience. My neighbors are cooking. It's okay. It's okay. Ignore the sounds. Yeah, that's a very common sentiment amongst people that have to go through that, euthanasia. And I wondered at the time, and I still do, I wonder if it was just always going to be that bad, if I was always going to feel guilt, guilt for if I had been there putting her down. I don't know. I guess I'll never know if I would have felt the same amount of guilt. But hearing other people talk about being there with their pets in their last moments, it's really difficult for me to hear about that because all I'm thinking about is how I didn't get to have that. I didn't get to have that closure. And if it had been up to me, I would have chosen to be there. And I tried, but I wasn't there. And I think that's what's made it uniquely difficult for me. The fact that I didn't get that experience that I think would have given me more closure. And I didn't get to say goodbye. I had said goodbye to her before I left on my honeymoon because I wasn't going to be returning to North Carolina. But I had said goodbye to her with the hope that I was going to get to see her soon. I didn't get to say goodbye. I said goodbye to her in May. I got married in May. And she died the next month. And when I left her in May, I remember that being so painful because I had no way of communicating to her that I wasn't leaving her forever, that I wasn't abandoning her, that I was gonna come back. I had no way of telling her that. So after she died, for the longest time, what was making me so sad was thinking about her feeling abandoned by me. I just... I'm sorry, but the timing is just... I have to laugh at it. It's hilarious. I was watching professionals talk about this, specifically this TED Talk, where she was explaining why pet loss, pet grief, why it's so difficult to navigate, why it's so different from losing a human. And she talked about that. She talked about how something that makes it really difficult is your inability to communicate with them. Like, even if I had been there, I wouldn't have been able to tell her how I felt. But it really hurts that I didn't at least get to show her that I cared through my presence. Like, physically, I wasn't there to comfort her. Yeah. The other reasons that she mentioned that I think are important to talk about, one is how most of society will diminish or even dismiss the pain of losing a pet. It's quite common for people to say things like, I cried just as much for my dog as I did for my relative, my mom, my dad. Yeah, which leads to the second reason. The relationship with a pet is different from a relationship with a person. You know, a person with a person, the relationship is more complex, which makes it more special, you know. But I think what also makes the relationship with a pet more special is that all of those negative things that come with having a complex relationship with a person just don't exist with a pet. It's all positive. Even when they do things that annoy you, even when they are bad dogs or a bad cat, and they're not doing it with malicious intent, they're just being animals. It's just their nature. So the entire relationship dynamic with an animal feels positive. They have this devotion to you that just does not exist with a person. They forgive very quickly, very easily. To them, you're like the best thing ever. So many people learn to rely on that. They find comfort in that. And when it's gone, it hurts a lot. A lot of people don't realize that the joy that you feel when they're alive, it's very real. And the pain that you feel when they die is just as real as that joy was. She was real. Those 13 years that we had together, they were real. And the pain of losing her is just as real. What also makes that feel painful, the unique relationship that exists with a pet, is also the circumstances. The special circumstances of losing a pet make the whole loss of that relationship feel so much worse. If you had to put your pet to sleep, if they died in a tragic accident, if you got them during a very difficult time in your life, if they're the last physical reminder that you have of a deceased loved one. I had Diana during the most significant part of my childhood. Like, I grew up with her, and you know, my childhood was not rainbows and unicorns all the time. And you know, I've dealt with depression my whole life. And this was one of the reasons why before I moved here, I told Justin, like, we're getting a cat. Like, we have to adopt a cat the second I get here, because I knew that being away from all my loved ones, being away from Diana, that it was going to be really hard for me, and I was probably going to get depressed, you know, just how my brain works. And I needed something to take care of. I needed a pet to take care of, a reason to get out of bed every morning. And for the longest time, Diana was my reason to get out of bed every morning. I did have days where the only reason I left my room was to be with her, to take her outside, to feed her. You know, sometimes I would take her outside and get a little bit of sun myself. She was there when I needed comfort, when I was really depressed, when I got cancer, when I was at home recovering from surgeries. I wish I could thank her for that. And again, like there was no way for me to communicate that, to say that to her and her say you're welcome in return. But I wish I could have shown her my gratitude and my care by being with her in those last moments. And sadly, that's just not how it happened. Yeah. Anyways, I do find comfort in my pets now, but I can't say that has made me miss her any less. For several reasons. You know, she was just so unique to me, like one of a kind. And like even when I moved here, I didn't want another dog because I didn't want to feel like I was replacing her. I have heard professionals say that it's not a good idea to immediately replace a pet after you've lost one, because it's like putting a band-aid, you know, on a much deeper wound. You have to process that grief. Otherwise, it's going to hit you out of nowhere, and then you have very little control over when that happens or how it happens. But I never felt like I was replacing her. Even before, when she was still alive and I got Tallulah, it felt more like I was offering more of my love and care to another animal, not like I was replacing the love and care that I already had for Diana. But I do miss having a dog. I see myself getting a dog in the future. Not right now. I think it would be kind of cruel to have another pet in such a small apartment, but I do think there can be a healthy balance between, you know, your current pets and getting more pets in the future and still processing the grief and respecting the love that you had for a pet that has passed away. I am always going to be an animal person. I feel like I'm always going to need, you know, a little someone to take care of. Not a baby. Oh my God. Don't start. If I get one just have a baby comment, don't. But yeah, I'm always gonna want to take care of someone. It's essential to me having a pet for several reasons, but I think the amount of love that I have for Diana only motivates me to continue loving animals and providing a loving home for them. Yeah. In a way, it feels like honoring that love that I had for her, to continue using her memory and everything that I learned with her, keep using it to care and love other animals that are currently alive. I also feel like her death is preparing me for the deaths of my cats in the future, because getting a pet, it does mean accepting that one day you are going to suffer their death. Like, that's just how it works. You are 8 times out of 10 always going to outlive your pet. So when you get a pet, you have to think about that, how one day you're going to lose them. And that was something that I could not bring myself to think about when I had Diana. That just was not a reality that I wanted to face. And I think that might be another reason for why the pain of losing her was as bad as it is, because I never prepared mentally for it. Like, already, I didn't know when she was sick, you know. One day she was alive and then the next she wasn't. There was no time to prepare for that. And then even before that, I just could not think about her dying eventually. And now that I have gone through that loss, I've been forced to think about that with my cats. Like, one day they're going to die, and that's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's going to be painful, but I know at the end of the day, I believe it's worth it. I do. I think caring for them and loving them and respecting them the way and the way God wanted us to it's worth it. Yeah. The joy that they bring into your life is worth it. I don't know, that's how I feel. I know not everyone feels that way. Some people lose a pet and they suffer the loss so much that they can't bring themselves to have another. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm saying for me, I find more peace in the idea of continuing to care for animals the way I cared for Diana, and even doing a better job at it. There's always things that you look back on and you wish you could have done better, you know. If I could do it all over again, I probably would have made sure she had the healthiest diet ever and made sure she had more regular exercise and all those things. But yeah, now I get to do that for my cats. I get to take care of them to the best of my ability. Yeah. Anyways, I know that was really sad and sucky, but if you've lost a pet, I really do hope people never make you feel shame for how painful it was or still is or is going to be. I don't know, like feelings are real. Yeah. I can't say that the pain has diminished all that much. It's always gonna hurt, I think. At least that's what I hear. But I hope that with time I get better at managing it. So yeah, that's it. I guess that's the end of this vlog. Yeah, I hope you had a great month. That if you have a doggy or a kitty, their death isn't so incredibly traumatizing. If you have a doggy, kiss them on the head for me. Yeah. See you next month, hopefully with a less sad video. Love ya. Bye. Tallulah is meowing right now and we just have to ignore her, okay? It's because she doesn't actually want me. She wants Justin, but Justin's at work right now. And if I go out there and try to play with her or comfort her or whatever, she's not gonna care. It's gonna make no difference. She's gonna keep crying. So we just have to ignore her. I'm sorry. I don't know. Is that bad? I don't know. If you're a cat behavioralist, if you're a cat therapist, psychologist, let me know if that's bad. I don't know, but ignore her.